And so here, it's the same exact situation that we have here in the book of Exodus. Here we have the children of Israel who are coming up against some haters. Now, the haters happen to be the Amalekites. Now, you need to know something about the Amalekites. The Amalekites are the enemies of Israel first time. They are people who live in the valley. The Amalekites were a sneaky people. They were so sneaky that they decided to attack Israel while Israel was just coming out of bondage. Now, if you know anything about Israel, God's chosen people, they are fresh out of slavery. They're professional slaves, not professional warriors. They're professional slaves. And so the Amalekites thought they could take advantage of them because they thought that Israel did not have what it took in order to get the victory. And so don't you remember when God talks about the children of Israel, when God first delivers the children of Israel, the Bible says, for God did not lead them out by way of the land of the Philistines, lest they saw the face of war and began to flee and return back to Egypt. That's what it says in the book of Exodus chapter 13. God was trying to keep the children of Israel from war because if they would have seen war, they would have backed up. I mean, they were professional slaves. They were not professional warriors. But in the midst of all that, yet God trying to keep them out of that way, they still end up coming against an opponent, an enemy who wanted to devour them right before they became a great name, right before they actually had complete success. And here come the children of Israel against the Amalekites. Now the children of Israel, we have to get this picture nice and clear. The children of Israel is not the size of a congregation of this room. Neither are they just the size of a congregation of a coliseum. They are thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. You got Aunt Sookie, you got Uncle Boo Boo, you got boogers, you got all kinds of snot, you got not snotty noses, you got beards that are messed up. They're not coming out looking like priests. No, God chose the people that you never thought could do what they were going to do. And God said, when you were no name, I took you, I chose you, and I made you a name. When others dismissed you, others didn't think about you, others didn't think that you could pull it off, God said, I chose to love you and wrap my arms around you and make you kings and queens, priests and priestesses, so that I could show my glory through your life. Oh my God, help me, Lord Jesus. And so here we have this blessed group of Israel, but yet they don't discover how blessed they really are. They don't think they really have what it takes, but yet they do. And they're going to find out what the secret of their strength really is. And so as they continue to pursue, they come up against the Amalekites and they're wondering what in the world are they going to do. Well, then Moses says, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go out and just grab a couple of men, and I want you to take these men and fight. Now, the Bible says that there were times when Israel was prevailing, but then there were other times when Israel was losing. Now, it did not say there was times when the men who fought for Israel was prevailing. No, because once again, whenever you have the players out on the front line, it's the whole community that is getting the victory. The Bible says it was times when Israel prevailed, but then there were other times when Israel was losing. The Amalekites couldn't understand why in the world Israel was prevailing. I mean, these were a tired group of people. You remember, these are the ones just one verse before who was complaining, saying, is God among us or not? Because we're thirsty and there's nothing to drink. And God tells Moses, I want you to go up on top of the mountain, strike the rock. And he says, I'm going to stand before you. When you strike the rock, I'm going to bring water out because these people are thirsty. Oftentimes we look at Israel and we say they're such a complaining group of people. No, you got to be able to see them. Can you imagine being out in the sun? Can you imagine being among thousands of people? You got sheep, you got goats, you got lambs, you got everything bleating all around you, and your kids are crying. People are having babies as they're walking out of Egypt. I'm talking about hardship. And then after a while they're hungry, and they're saying they're not hungry like you and I are hungry. No, they're hungry. These are thousands upon tens of thousands of people. They can't find where in the world they're going to get food. The resources seem to be very little. How in the world are they going to do it? All it could take is a strength of a God to bring them through. They had no understanding. These are the children of Israel. They are fresh out of slavery. And so when they would look at thousands, they hear babies crying. They hear all the different, they have paralyzed grandmothers and grandfathers who are walking and making them. And they saying, Moses, what did you do? Did you bring us out here to die? A lot of times we think that they just a complaining group of, no, can you imagine seeing your grandma have to limp and have to make her way, and yet Moses told you that God was going to do it. Moses is walking around 80 years old still in his strength, and you got somebody who's 120 and has been put through slavery. Moses wasn't put through slavery. Oh my God, don't you understand their frustration? Can't you see the kind of pain they're going through? I'm talking about people among thousands upon thousands upon thousands. This is why Amalek thought that they could take advantage of Israel, because they had to go through hard times in order for them to get where they had to get. They had no time to rest. You remember when the Bible says that they were thirsty again and the waters had bitterness and they were like poison. And then Moses said, eat or drink of the waters. They said, they're bitter. How can we drink of them? God said, take a branch and break off a branch, put it in the water, and the water went from bitter to sweet. God was showing them that I am your God and I'm with you. And it brings us up to this particular point. Now we're standing with the children of Israel who now have put God to the test. First, when God feeds them by manna, he puts them to the test. But then the Bible says now they call him with a lawsuit genre, and that is when they call God on the court stand and they say, are you really with us or are you not? I mean, when you've really gone through your pain, and y'all being scholars, y'all know what it's like when you had to go through the hard nights and you went through the hard pains, and it seemed like even the finances weren't coming through the way you wanted them to come through. It seemed like people were not being sensitive to your needs or sensitive to what it was or what it took for you to get where you got to go. After a while, you started to wonder, my God, is God with me or not? When you really had to go through, you wondered, did God call me to this? Should I be doing this? Should I go back? Should I wait a couple more years? Or even did I start school too late? Yes, that's what they have the questions about. They wanted to know, is God with us or not? And God says, I'm going to prove myself to them. Moses, I want you to strike the rock. God having Moses strike the rock was God's answer. I'm with you. I know it may seem difficult, but I'm with you. I really delivered you. I really brought you out to really make you and to really take you into something better. If you could just endure hardness as a good soldier. You know, oftentimes people are not willing to go do what you did because they're not willing to endure the hardness that it takes in order to make it. But God says, if you can just endure hardness as a good soldier for a season, I promise I will bring you into a land flowing with milk and honey. I promise to bring you into a place where in houses you did not build. I promise to give you land that you did not plant in. He says, if you can just hold out and just come on through. He said, if you can just stop murmuring and complaining and trust me. But God, I don't know you, but trust me. But God, I haven't seen you in this manner, but trust me. If you can just hold your peace and let the Lord fight your battle, victory shall be yours. Let the people of God say yes. Oh God. And so here we are fighting, and here we have the children of Israel fighting against Amalek, and Amalek cannot figure out what in the world is causing this broke group of people who were never really built for warfare to make it. My God, they were fighting ghetto. They were doing everything they could. If they had a razor, they pulled it out on you. Come on now, they were scratching your eyes out. This is the kind of fight that Israel was doing, because Israel was not a group of people made for war. And so the Bible says there was time when Israel was winning, but yet there was time when Israel was losing. And the Amalek, they thought that they were going to take them out. And so Amalek, they did not understand this one thing. They sized Israel up based on where they came from. They sized Israel up based on what Israel had on. They sized Israel up based on what they thought. They measured Israel's inside based on how they looked on the outside. But the problem was they did not look beyond Israel, because behind the back of Israel was the secret of their power. Behind the back of Israel was the secret of their strength. The Bible says Moses said to them, I want you to go out and fight that battle, but right behind your back I'm going to stand on the mountain and I'm going to lift up the rod. And he said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to fight for you in the spirit. I'm going to fight for you in the spirit. And so Amalek thought he was just dealing with an average group of people, but he ain't seen nothing like this before. Amalek didn't see anything like this before, because he thought he saw a group of poor people who couldn't afford an education.